You are here. We are taking an interview on the recent political developments and changes that occurred in Nepal. Here with us, Mr. Dhananjay Tripathi, Dr. Dhananjay Tripathi. He is the chairperson of International Relations at South Asian University. So, sir, the first question for you is: so, how do you see recent regime change in Nepal in the context of Indo-Nepal relations, particularly?
I think the new changes in Nepal, I think it's good. It's a people of Nepal who have decided on their leadership. So I don't think an India-Nepal relation is not regime-based. India-Nepal relation is not regime-based. It is based on a very solid socio-economic, cultural, and people-to-people relation. These are the factors that actually are the basis of India-Nepal relationship. So it is not regime-based primarily. Regime may come and the government may come and go. So that's one thing about India-Nepal relations. As far as the new government is concerned, the new government has shown its keenness. Prachanda has been positive after he became the head of the government. So I haven't seen anything by which I can judge that he is going in a different way or it's something which India should be concerned of. So I think it's fine. It's the internal matter of Nepal who's going to become the prime minister based on number, election, etc. But as far as the India-Nepal relation is concerned, as I said, let me tell you, and just to reiterate, it is not based on merely the government. It's a very solid background in terms of the people, the culture, the social and the economics.
So you don't see much changes in the foreign policies of both the countries regarding regime change in Nepal?
No, as of now, I don't think.
Okay.
I don't know.
So next question for you is, what would be the expectation of the India from the coalition government led by PM Prachanda? What do you think?
See, India wanted to maintain an neighborly relation with all the South Asian countries, and Nepal has a very special, part in India's foreign policy. Why? Because, as I said, that Nepal cannot be seen merely in terms of the political ties, the changes in regimes. Although there were times when the relation has seen some difficult issues that are coming up. But if you look at overall relation between India and Nepal, it remained smooth over the years. So the coalition government, that is where one of the expectations that every Indian will have, not only the government, I'll say every Indian will have, is like a pro-India, a friendly India country. That is what the expectations are. And I think Prachanda knows India very well. I think if someone who knows India, political terms, social terms, then Prachanda is one. He knows this country so well. India has played a very vital role during when he was in a struggle with the monarchy there in Nepal. So I think there are these kind of linkages that are there. So one of the expectation which I will say that every Indian have is like a very good, open, friendly Nepal. So that's all.
So you think Prachanda will open improving the bilateral relations according to your understanding? So as you mentioned, Prachanda knows India very well. So you think so?
I think so. I mean, why not? If you look at Prachanda's some of the political positions, although there are few in India who believe that Prachanda at times have taken certain positions that are not as per the expectations of India. But if you look at Prachanda's overall means his earlier tenure as well, of course there is a China factor, but the China factor is everywhere. Bangladesh, there is China factor. And more than from a South Asian perspective, we also have to look at it from the Chinese perspective. They have money, they wanted to intervene in South Asia. Every country wanted to have. And China is a very big power. China has a very good relation with the Western countries, so why not with others? Why not with these South Asian countries? So that's one thing. So I don't, particularly I am the one who don't believe that China investing in South Asian country is some way is an anti-India thing. Of course, there will be this competition and everybody aware because these are two giants. So Prachanda, in a way, I have not seen him taking a lot of sides towards in the way China thing is concerned. More than Prachanda, I would feel that Oli at times, in a very rhetorical ways, he had taken certain position which one can say that was not very positive towards India. So I haven't seen Prachanda in that way. But yeah, as I said, at times I have seen Oli taking a very strong positions on India.
Okay. So how hopeful are you towards resolution of long-standing issues regarding border dispute, security matters, and like Nepal expectations for favorable Indian market for it, particularly for its exports? So are you hopeful towards the resolution of these issues?
See, as I said, like there is nothing that cannot be resolved between India and Nepal. Why? Because it is not merely the politics that connect us, it is the people that connect us. And let me bring this very recent example regarding the construction of the statues in Ayodhya. So the stones are coming from Nepal, and it was like a fun fair, it was like very much celebrated. And that is one of the part of India-Nepal relation, which generally in our academic, in our intellectual discussions, we know. Very strong people-to-people connect, right? So, yes, there are issues, particularly the border question, which became very prominent 2015 onwards, the Madheshi blockade, and then the question of other border that is there. I think, and both sides have shown keenness to resolve it through dialogue, through discussions. I think that's a way as far as the border disputes is concerned. The second very important thing is, in the context of India-Nepal border, it's an open porous border, right? So I think both countries are in a much better placed to resolve the dispute. If you look at India-Pakistan border or India-Bangladesh borders, it's a different story altogether. It's a very securitized, non-porous border. So resolution on those borders are very, very difficult, because a lot of political contestations are involved. As far as India to Nepal is concerned, I don't think it requires a lot of some political willingness from both the sides to resolve it, and it can be resolved. Access to the Indian market for export, yes, definitely, why not? India has to think in a better way to integrate South Asian economies with its market, and should allow access to the Nepalese goods to Indian market. Why not?
Okay. Recent narrative of Indian scholarly community and particularly media propagates every time that Chinese activities in Nepal are increasing, and Nepal insists on its neutral position. So how do you observe it, and what's your take on this?
So this is a critical question not only in the context of Nepal but in all the South Asian countries. China is investing heavily in all the South Asian countries, including in Nepal. China's FDI has increased a lot in Nepal. Nepal is also the part of BRI project. That's also one of the things. They are into the infrastructure projects in Nepal. So all these at times are seen with little skepticism by the Indian strategic community. The reason is that Nepal is a next door neighbor. And some of these projects, the feeling is that it will give access to China to very close to the Indian borders. That's one of the, like the Pokhara airport. So there is this understanding that because the China is a part of it, and it's not very far from Gorakhpur on the Indian side. So these are some of the critical things that are there in the minds of particularly those who look at it from a strategic point of view. So they believe that these activities of China is not very good for India. And why? Because India, China, despite their good trade relation, have failed to resolve their political issues, particularly the border issues. So India and China are competitors. And in this way, if China will invest a lot in the infrastructure of Nepal, which is the next door neighbor of India, then there are likelihood that India, from the Indian people, will take it in a different way. But I think Nepal, time and again, has made this point very clear that they wanted to be a bridge between India and China. Although I don't feel that there are many takers of this position in India. But Nepal also have to decide that what kind of bridge it can be between these two giants. So there is a lot that Nepal also have to think, and there is a lot that India also have to think in terms of the Chinese intervention, not only in Nepal but also in other South Asian countries. So yeah, there is suspicion. But as I said, one of my strong feelings in Nepal is the people to people, it's the social, it's not merely the political.
Okay. As per your understanding, what are the domains which needs to be improved in responses from governments of both the sides? What both governments can do in this matter?
I think one of the things is that we should be doing is focusing more on the people. That somehow over the years we have seen that the kind of particularly the young generation from both the sides, there are certain misunderstandings on variety of issues. I think that need to be resolved. The people to people contact should be promoted from both the sides. That's very, very important. The second is the border issue, the border questions. Even political rhetorics are not good for, the perception that it creates. So, and perceptions matters in foreign policy. So I think that has to be dealt with, and both the countries have to do it. That's the second thing. The third very important thing is the market integration. And India needs to think that South Asia policy in light of integrating with these markets of other countries, and other countries also have to think in that direction. So I think these are some of the common issues. And fourth, India has to really look into the development projects that it has offered to some of the South Asian countries, including India-Nepal. So I think there are possibilities of further strengthening this partnership by focusing more on people to people, by resolving the border question as smoothly as fast as possible. Number 3, by integrating the markets, and number 4, by India by pushing more into the development projects in Nepal. And somewhere down the line, we also have to ignore a little bit the China question. But yeah, the China question is important. To conclude, I would say that I have seen a shift in Nepal's position in last couple of years. The way there was a shift towards China, I would say that it has changed in last 2-3 years for whatever reasons. And China, despite its heavy investment in the region, with the Sri Lankan crisis, there is now a question on Chinese investment in the region, the utility of Chinese investment in the region. So it is not that things will remain same as far as the foreign policy is concerned, it will keep changing. and definitely the India-Nepal relation will change accordingly. But one of the things that will remain the pillar of this relationship is, you know, is the people on both sides. I think that's a very strong connect between these two countries. So we should not ignore this in any of our discussions. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time, sir.